In this video, I'm going to outline the exact steps you need to take in order to get a mortgage on UK property whilst living overseas as an expat. In addition to this, we'll look at some of the common misconceptions about getting a mortgage as an expat and some of the common reasons that people get knocked back or denied. Over the past 5 years, I've built up a portfolio of properties from one-bed flats to HMOs in the UK and overseas, with the sole purpose of being able to retire early and do what I want, sit on a beach somewhere and drink beer. So how do you get started? What are the steps involved in getting one? And is it really true that expats can't get mortgages? Firstly, some misconceptions, and these are things I hear all of the time. My mate Steve told me that expats can't get a mortgage. So-and-so at the football club or the paddle club told me you need a 50% deposit, or the funniest one I ever heard was you need a 90% deposit as an expat. In addition to this, mortgage rates for expats are sky high. That's another one. Or quite simply, that banks, building societies will go through your financials and life with a fine-tooth comb. Yes, some of them might, but not all of them. And the fact is that all of those points are simply untrue. If expats couldn't get mortgages in the UK government wouldn't be slapping on extra taxes on the stamp duty for expats living overseas. It's an extra 2% now. So the simple truth of the matter is, as an expat, you can get a mortgage. And the key step, or perhaps the most crucial factor that you need to consider, or element that you need to do, is to work with an expat mortgage broker, someone that likes working with expats, that knows which banks and lenders like working with expats. Now, I'm sure you've heard a similar story, or perhaps it's even happened to you. You've gone back to the UK over Christmas, summer, Easter, whatever it may be, on a holiday, visit family and friends, and you've popped in to your high street bank, perhaps who you were banking with before you left the UK, NatWest, Lloyds, HSBC, whatever it may be, and you've asked them for an expat mortgage and they flat out turned you down. And the reason for this is because they simply don't need the expat business. They've got enough from people living in the UK. So now that we're clear on that point, that you need to work with a specialist broker, what are the steps involved? What documentation do you need? And what process, or what is the process that you should follow? So step one is to, as I've said, contact a specialist broker. As I say, these are people that are familiar with working with expats. They know which banks and building societies like certain regions, Middle East, Asia, etc. They also know what banks and building societies like particular types of property. So they have the knowledge to know, say, okay, you're in this location, you're looking to buy that type of property, therefore we'll try these lenders first. So you contact them. The first thing they'll often ask you to do is fill in some sort of data capture form. This has got basic top level information, you know, who you are, where you live, your address, your incomings, your earnings, bonuses, salary, that sort of stuff, your outgoings, what do you spend on lifestyle, kids' fees, fixed bills, other debt, car finance, other mortgages, all of that sort of stuff. So that's a real top level snapshot. With this information, this is step 3, they will then go and speak to the correct lenders and building societies, that sort of thing, and go and get you a DIP. This is a decision in principle. And what this means is basically the bank or the lender is happy to lend to you based on the property information you've given them and the details you've given them on your personal situation. Step 4 then, once you have your decision in principle, you need to start getting together the documentation that the bank will want to see in order to give you a full-blown mortgage offer. Now, what does this involve? Usually as a minimum, it's 3 months bank statements, 3 months pay slips, sometimes an employment contract, a proof of address, and a passport copy. They will then take this information, see if it matches up with what you've told them, and then they may ask for some further information based on whatever they see within that. So for example, you've received £15,000 into your bank account from this source that wasn't your company. What is it? That's because I sold a car. You might need to show them proof of that. Or that's because I sold some investments here in stocks and shares and I paid the cash back in. You might need to prove ownership of the stocks and shares account, whatever it may be. Generally speaking, the cleaner and simpler the application, the easier it is going to be to get through more quickly. Again, that's another mortgage misconception, is that they take months and months and months. In my own personal experience, the quickest I've ever had a mortgage turned around from, holy crap, I need to get a mortgage quickly, to having a mortgage offer was in under 2 weeks, to having the mortgage agreed was about 3 weeks, I think. And that is rare, but I have a good relationship with my broker who helped me do that. So you've handed in all your documentation, you've answered any additional questions. Sometimes some banks might ask for 6 months worth of payslips, bank statements, those sorts of things, but usually it's 3. Providing they're happy with this information, they will then give you an official mortgage offer. Mortgage offers are valid usually for 3 months. They can often be extended for up to 6 months. And in the instances of buying something off plan or a new build, they will often or sometimes extend that further. And again, this is one of the real key benefits of building a good relationship with a mortgage broker. And something we talk about in our book is your mortgage broker is part of your dream team. So another example for me personally, I was buying an off-plan property. It was delayed and actually ended up having the mortgage offer pushed out to about 8 or 9 months, I think it was. So it was 3 months, then extended for 3. And because my broker knew the person in the expat department, he went down, had a chat with them and said, look, it's very close. Can you just eke it out a little bit further? And that was quite fortunate actually, because that was right at the time that Liz Truss worked her magic and interest rates started going through the roof. So I was lucky to still get that on the old interest rates. But that shows the importance of the benefit of having a good broker in your team that you can trust. There we have it. Those are the steps. It's pretty straightforward and simple. You need to work with someone that is familiar with working with expats. First of all, fill out some basic information on a data capture form. Secondly, then, once you've got your decision in principle, you will need to provide the supporting documentation, passport copy, proof of address, 3 months bank statements, 3 months pay slips and an employment contract. After that, answer any additional questions the bank and lender has. Providing they're happy, they will then give you the mortgage offer. Now, this is a top level overview, assuming you are employed as an expat overseas. If you own your own business, it's slightly different again. You normally need 2 years worth of accounts. If you're buying a unique property, your situation is slightly different. Again, they might need more supporting information. But I did ask my broker once where the weirdest place is he has secured a mortgage for someone, and he said someone that was working as a researcher on the South Pole. So if they can get a mortgage, you can get a mortgage. If you'd like any more information on how to find a broker and the exact more detailed steps on how to get an expat mortgage, grab a copy of our book. You can drop a comment below, or in the description there'll be a link where you can download it. Additionally, if you would like some introductions to some mortgage brokers, my personal ones, the ones we use, then get in touch and we can make the introductions.